Good morning, Arc Addicts. How y'all doing today? This is Arturo Aguirre coming live from Republic Weld Center. Today we're going to give you some new content in the way of weld testing today. We're going to be weld testing a 2-inch TIG stick combo at Republic Weld Testing to kind of give you an idea of what it really is to get certified for a job on a weld test.
Rest last night.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Doing great. Jeff, I'm here to weld test for Supreme Welding Academy.
Awesome. Let me get your driver's license real quick.
Sweet. Here you go.
And give me a few minutes. Let me get some paperwork spun up, and I'll be right out to help.
Thank you, sir.
Alrighty, Mr. Aguirre.
Yes, sir.
You're going to be in booth number 12 today.
Yes, sir.
So your booth number is your machine number. Your machines are right down here on the end.
Awesome.
First thing I need to see you do is get your TIG rig set up.
Yes, sir.
Find your machine number. Make sure you check the leads before you go on. Just because we turn the knobs and switch the switches doesn't mean that we change the polarity. So,
Simple.
get your TIG rig set up, check your machine. I'll be back with your coupons.
Thank you, sir. So when you're checking out a machine, you definitely want to get yourself comfortable like you would at home. Make sure you have a sharp tungsten. Here at this testing center, they have the flex head, which is going to be very beneficial to myself. They got the short tail on the end, which is something I prefer to use. Let's check out this tungsten. Make sure we got gas. And we definitely want to come over to number 12 machine to check out what we have. Now, like I mentioned before in my previous videos, every machine might vary little by little, but they're all going to have an on-off switch, higher and lower on the temperature settings, and a plus and a negative. Again, for TIG root, you definitely want to set it right around 90. Let's go check it out. If your tungsten never burns out like that, as soon as you strike the arc, what means is your polarities are reversed. Meaning you're going to have to go back to the machine, take that negative lead out of the positive and the positive out of the negative, and switch leads. Let's go check one more time. All right, machine set right. Make sure on any surface you weld on, make sure you completely grind it off. The weld facility makes sure, wants to ensure they keep this looking as good as possible for the next guy. So make sure you always clean up after yourself. All right.
All right, Mr. Aguirre, you have one test today. It's going to be a 2-inch schedule 160
yes, sir.
TIG and stick.
Okay.
The first thing I need to see you do is, once you get your coupons cleaned up, tacked up, and tacked onto the stand,
Yes, sir.
give me a call. I want to see the fit before you put the root lead in.
10-4.
Okie dokie?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions?
At this time, no, sir.
Awesome.
Thank you. So the number one thing you want to do is prep your base material. As you can see, it does have a little bit of mill scale, a little bit of rust in it. I want to remove all that. Ideally, you want about 1 inch away from the weld surfaces, both on the inside, the weld surface, and on the outside. Now, Jeb just asked me if I had any questions. I just realized that I've been doing this so long that this just comes second nature to me. So if you do have any questions, or this is your first weld test, and you have any questions as to where the pencil grinder might be, where a file might be, what are you allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, it was perfect time to ask at that time before you start, to kind of shake the nerves off. You want to be as calm as possible before your weld test, because if not, you're going to back yourself into a corner and it's just going to be overwhelming. With that said, let's go back to what makes us happy. Let's start some marks. Your pipe from the inside and outside, and where you're going to weld surface is going to be, you'll be ready to tack. Now, I get a lot of questions how wide my tap should be, how wide the gap should be. It really varies on depending on what you're comfortable with. Me, I usually go with the loose 1/8. A loose 1/8 is usually very, very comfortable to weld. Now at this time, when you are doing the tacks, you really have to be careful on the heat. That way, if it eats your bevels up too much, you gotta turn it down. If it's not moving the wire you need to, you might have to turn it up. Now, in order to tack your pipe onto a surface, you might have to turn up the machine quite a bit. I'm usually going to put about 150 just to tack this to this, and then bring it back down to what I had at 90 to do the root pass. So again, you turn your machine up really hot in order to tack your coupons to the plate, but remember, turn that machine back down to run your root. All right, before continuing, make sure you feather down your tack, that way you can do a good tie-in as you move forward. Okay. Once you come to this stopping point, let's get with the QC. That way he can check out the tack. Everything's good. He'll let me run that root, hot pass, and then we'll call him back again to inspect the weld as we go.
All right. Very good, sir. Show me a root bead.
10-4.
My fellow arc addicts, we have to have appreciation for these shots we're taking of this root pass. As a welder, you don't typically see this root going in from the inside since you're on the outside. However, you can appreciate how consistency, travel speed, and the right temperature will give you that ring on the inside of the weld every time.
Very good, sir. Let's go ahead and put a hot pass on it, and then we'll switch leads. All of your.
Quick question: what tools did you use today?
What tools did I use today? Well, the good old flashlight and the good old 7/8" mirror. And these are good for especially the monster coupons, and that mirror will get inside and allow you to look at both sides of the root bead. The 1-inch mirrors will not allow you to get in through the root bead.
Gotcha.
You have to have a 7/8.
10-4. Okay, thanks.
And then all of your low hydrogen stick rods are going to be in the bottom rod of it.
Thank you, sir.
1, 2, 1, 2. When weld testing, you tend to be nervous at times especially if your money's on the line. But remember, just keep it consistent. 1, 2. Tie in both walls. Don't put too much heat on the hot pass. That way you could get good filling material tied in on both sides.
Now that we're going from TIG to stick, we want to switch the polarities on our welder machines, adjust our settings, and get started on our stick. All right, let's go. So when we're on the stick rod, we're going to switch our negative to our positive to our negative. And on this Miller CTS 280, you go from TIG arc, you want to put it on 7018. We're going to go about right around 90 amps.
Great, guys. We flushed out the pipe completely, but I could feel the heat coming off this pipe. It's important to make sure you let it cool off and not try to cap it right away. Give yourself a 15-minute break or so to allow yourself to cap. Now that it's nice and cool, we're able to start. Let's get after it. A good tip to know when capping the pipe, use the side bevels as a guideline to continuously go forward and get you a good clean cap bead on the pipe.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, well, let's take a look at it. Alright, well, very good, sir. We'll get this over to the lab. We'll get it cut and sampled, and then we'll get it bent, and then we'll let you know.
Thank you, sir. What's up, fellow arc addicts? It's been a couple of days since I went and took the weld test. The results are now in. As you can see, my bend test became out positive. Everything's good. Passed that weld test. Great. With that said, stay tuned for our next video. We're gonna have the behind the scenes on the actual bend test. We have a privilege to go back there and actually see what usually welders don't get to see, and we're gonna be able to share that content with you. Please stay tuned. Until next time.